Testing one, two. Okay, cool. All right, so just like the name of the video says, this is going to be a quick guide on how to add jiggle physics to your models. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of the like the different techniques and different things, but I'm just going to give you the raw basics and let you play with that. At some point in the future, when I've mastered it, I'm going to do a video to kind of like show how to get exactly what you want, but I'll show you what I've got, and you can pick up from this if you want to, and go from there. So if you go to my GitHub, you can grab the this IBC BP. This is this blueprint that we'll be using. Also, you can get this setup following Konji's guide, who is the one who initially showed us all how to even get the blueprint things to work. So do that. But the first step is just going to be download that from my GitHub. It's just right here, GitHub CDDT1 Tech 8 resources, blah blah blah. Grab that. You're going to drop that into your actual like Windows folder section, right? So find you wherever your stuff is at, you know what I mean, content, whatever folder you want to put it into, put it in through there, right? Mine, I just have in a little utility folder where I just put just random stuff in. So here it is. Boom. If we open it up, this is what it looks like. Like I said, you can get this all set up if you follow Konji's guide, or you can just grab this one. This is, you can use this as many times as you want to. You just make a copy of it and make one change. That one change is going to be changing what's in this little box right here. But once you get it in, just compile it, save it, and you're good to go, right? So we'll get back to that in just a second. So adding jiggle physics is pretty easy. I haven't added it to this particular model yet. So here we go. It's just the upper body. You're going to add it to your MSL, and that's it. So the first step you want to do is you want to create a physics asset. So let's create a physics asset real quick. Create. You can create and assign, whatever. I'm just going to do this. I'm not really going to be using it for anything, so I'm just going to keep it real simple. Here it is. I don't know why my window's looking all crazy, but whatever. Okay, so there it is. Yeah, cool. I'm just going to set all of these to kinematic. Bam. Alright. I'm not going to be doing anything with any traditional bone physics in this example. We're just going to use all spring controllers. Alright, so you want to figure out which bones you want to use. So if we're dealing with the female, I can just type in bust, and I can see, I think bust tip is what we're working with. So if I go here, I can move this around and see what is going to be moved. Right? So there's that one. I don't think this one. There's that. There's bus driver, which isn't. Oops. What is this? So I'm not sure exactly which one is the best to use. Probably bus driver. It looks like it's going to be the best bone to use. Let's go ahead and reset these real quick. Reset. And let's see. Try driver again. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Actually, it looks like just swing right bus might be the best one. Okay. Or you can, if you have custom bones that you're using, you can use those bones as well. Play around with it when you get there. But I'm just going to be using swing right bust and swing left bust. Alright, cool. Yep, so I want to go into my asset real quick, and I want to make sure my physics is set in here. So whether you did the create and assign, if you did create and assign, it should already be in here, but if you didn't, grab your physics and go ahead and put it in here. But I'm going to go ahead and just save it. You're just doing it on the MSL. I'm going to go ahead and rename this one. I'm going to turn the physics off there, and I'm just going to call this one PA, so I know what it is for physics asset. Alright, nice. Next, I'm going to go ahead and create a anim blueprint. So go to create, anim blueprint. There we go. And mine shows up in the skeleton folder. I don't know if it does that for everybody, but then I just grab it and I throw it in my mod folder. In this case, I'm putting it in meshes, because that's where I keep my stuff. Alright, cool. And I'm going to rename this one to ABP, and then I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. Alright, nice. So I'm just going to open this up. And I think it takes a little second to open up. If I actually hit it. Yep, there we go. Alright, cool. So now we're in here. We got this little pose thingy. I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to look for copy pose from mesh. There we go. Alright, and you can connect these two little things. hit save and compiled and save. Now, once you're in here, make sure you set this up here. So click on this guy and then click on these 4 boxes and hit compile and save. And I'm going to jump out of here because I like to set everything up before I start really messing with things. So we're back here. I've got this created. I've got this created and assigned. I'm going to go ahead and get this. Yep, so I'm going to copy that name. I'm going to open up my MSL and I'm going to go down here to a section. Where is it called? Like post process or something. I should just search for it. Let's do it. So post. There it is. So we're going to grab this anim blueprint. Alright, and I'm just going to paste it in there so I know exactly where it's at. Or you can search for it, and now it's set. Alright, save. Okay, so now everything's essentially connected right now. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to go into my BI. So I have, not the last thing to do, but the next thing I want to do is go into my little template here. I'm going to grab that and bring it over as well. Just going to copy this and not move it. And I'm just going to grab like this name or something. And I'm going to replace template like that. Except I don't want the PA in there. Just PA. And just so that all my names match up, I'm going to do that as well. Alright, so that they're all the same name essentially with different prefixes. Alright, so I'm going to open this up, and the only thing I have to do in here is go to this node, the set anim class, and find the thing that I have. So the ABBP that I just made for outfit C, that's going to go there. We're going to hit save. Save. Alright, cool. Alright. For our items, for when I'm doing my BI, so it's all linked together, I'm going to open up my BI, and I'm going to look for class. And item base class is where I'm going to find this. I want this blueprint that I just set up right here, right? So I'm just going to copy the name, go over here, search for it, there it is, and we're good. Okay, so now all the pieces are together. So my BI is already referencing my SK, right? Now it's also referencing this this item base class blueprint, right? The item base class blueprint is referencing the anim blueprint, which is also being referenced in the SK, and then the SK is also referencing the physics asset. But right now nothing's gonna jiggle, so we want to go ahead and get that jiggle going on. So I open this back up. Now if you go to the event graph, there's times where I'll open it back up and I can't get back to that window where I was just at. Just go over here to your anim graph and double click on it, and it'll take you back into here. That took me forever to find. I was like stressing out. Alright, so if you right click, you can type in spring controller. Bam. And now we're going to go ahead and link these little guys up, and it will create this little block here, which is fine. You need that. Do the same thing over here, create another little block, keep that there, and you're good. Alright. Okay, so this is your spring controller. This is what's going to add the bounce to your step. Now I'm going to use, I played around with it a little bit and I've got pretty decent results. So I'm going to grab one that I've already done, which is in here, I believe. Somewhere. I don't know where I put it. I thought I put it in here. I don't know where it is. I thought I had one on this one. Well, let's look. BDU. I do. Where is it? Where do I have it at though? Oops. Okay, so this one, I'm just using a default. So in here I have a default version. Okay, and this one has but and whatever in it. So I just take these values. But basically what I have here is the spring controller. And so this is what I have. And I used left bust tip for this one. But I think I'm going to use just the general breastbone for this example. But I have max displacement at 2. So let's see. If I go into here, oops, I need to make this bigger. Can I make this window bigger? Hopefully I can zoom in the correct way. Come on, zoom. Okay, so if I hit compile, you'll see that it moves, right? So I have max displacement sit here. I think normally it's set to 0. This is how, I guess, how much movement it's going to have. I set it to 2. I found it to work up pretty well. Where'd it go? Alright, your spring stiffness, I think if it's at like 0, let's see what it looks like. It has a lot more movement to it, so I found 200 works pretty well. This is damping. Set these all at 0 and it'll move. So I think if we set these all back to the originals, alright, 50. Either way, this is what I use. So I use 2, I use 200, and I use 6, and I get pretty good results, right? But all you're going to do is you're going to set those things to whatever bone you want. So if I go into here, I've got this. I'm going to go ahead and find my bone, which is going to be a bust bone, and we'll just start with the left bone. And I'll set my displacement to 2, 200, and 6. Compile, and you see I've got some movement. So every time I hit compile, you'll see it move around. All right, nice. So that's going to be movement on top of the movement that's already built into the game. But if you had your own bone, it would be moving on its own. I'm just going to hit Control Copy and then paste for a second one. I'm just going to now add this one to the link, and we'll go here to bust and go to right, hit compile, and now they're both moving around. Nice. And that essentially is it. Now they're set up, so I can go ahead and cook it, and we can see how it looks in game. Yeah, so the key things you want to make sure is that your BI is referencing the class thing that you made. So the BI is referencing this. In here, you want to make sure this is referencing the anim blueprint you created and you've compiled and saved it. You want to make sure you have one of these and you have one of these. Your PA, it can just be all kinematic, I believe. And then we've got your MSL. You'll base everything, and you want to make sure it's added in here. You can't. I don't know how to make it so you can see the actual physics in action in here, so I can't help you with that. You're just gonna have to trust that it works. But we have the anim blueprint listed in here, and then we have the PA listed here. Alright, so then you're just gonna go ahead and cook the mod as normal. If you're using the label assets in my directory, then of course make sure that all the pieces that you just created, your anim blueprints, your physics asset, and the base item, base class, blueprint, whatever, is in whatever folder that you'll be using for the mod. Of course, if you're using explicit assets, then you're going to add them in here. And then if I use recursive, I don't suggest that for everybody when they're just starting. But if you're doing that, then you need to absolutely make sure everything is identified within all the pieces. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and package that up, and that's essentially done. make a duplicate of this. I'm just gonna take a screenshot, I think. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a screenshot and then I'll load it up. This is what I have. Alright, I got it for both of them, for all of them. Okay, cool. Now there's two videos that I saw that if you look up on YouTube for Jiggle physics, and they've got some different values that they put in here, and they kind of explain this a little bit more, so feel free to go ahead and do that. But this is the setup that will make it work in Tekken 8 thanks to Konji's dedication and knowledge sharing. But yeah, now you can have it. That's how I made my Abomination Dad mod spot. Which I want to fix and make it even better. I kind of just threw it together, and it's just to make it ridiculous and cursed, but it's hilarious like it is. So, but I do want to get more legitimate, like belly physics and thigh physics and whatever that looks real. And also I want really good breast physics as well. I want them to not look like jello flopping around and stuff. So I want to do a little bit more research to find out how to make sure that works perfectly. I haven't gotten into the anim dynamics stuff, but I've done regular bone constraint physics, which is I set up essentially the same way, except I don't have any spring controllers. So it's everything except for the spring controllers. That's how I've got it to work. But it is what it is. I don't know if there's issues with the MSL PRP meshes versus the MSL only meshes. So if there is things that pop up, let people know so we can share it and figure it out. But for now, it's a pretty simple process. It took me, I waited till what, season 2 to even play around with this stuff, and it is so easy to do it right here and get it done like this. So when new tech comes out, I encourage people to at least try it out so you're not missing out. But I have a lot of stuff in my project right now, so it's gonna take a while. In the meantime, let me just get ready to look at it. What number is it? 7117. Do I put Lydia's folder? I did. Okay. Alright, so that'll be good whenever that's ready. In the meantime, I'm going to work on this. I'm trying to figure out the best way to create pants. And I want jeans. I want jeans. I also need to think of some more outfits for the top. And then I'm going to use them as examples for how I set up coloring and all kinds of stuff. I think this should work. I can use these pieces as like the seam lines. Oh. Do I have, is this cloth set? And I'm going to use the let's see, so I'm going to do this L, 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 L. Alright, and then I'm just going to hit hide. Now I just got a bunch of edges, and I'm just going to delete those edges. Alt H, and now I'm back here. Cool. So now I'm going to grab this, and I think I can just do, is there grid fill? I use the SpeedRoots Oppo for grid fill, but I think there's a built-in option for grid fill. No. Oh, here we go, grid fill. Loops are not connected by wire boundaries. What? Okay, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way then. Bam, and then just hit. Boom. I think I heard that it's ready to go. A little chime, but I just want to finish this up real quick. Nice. Like this. And this. We'll mark a seam. I'll split that. Mark a seam. Split. Do this. Mark seam. Alright, there we go, nice. Alright, and I was trying to do some like UV texturing on this thing, and it kind of worked and it kind of didn't work, so I'm not sold on it yet. Alright, cool. Alright, I'll go back to that later. But let's take a look at this. So we get 806. Nice. What did I say the number was? 7117. Where you at? Where you at? Here we go. Copy. Delete. Alright, let's see how it looks. Come on. I made a bunch of mods for Lydia. I think I need to release soon. I think this is I think I've got her wearing it on this outfit. I think the hair in this mod is busted though. No, alright, here we go. Let's see. There we go. So we got a decent amount of extra bounce there. I think if we compare it to, let's see, let's grab like this outfit, right? And then we'll go to zoom in. Oh. And there's like no bounce, right? So it's definitely working. And I made these mods a while ago, so like there's no see, there we go, nice. You can see what it looks like. Oh. Let's go. I don't know. There you go.
Bądźmy dumni z tej walki. Muszę wygrać w imię wszystkich Polaków. Os! Mam chwilę przed kolejnym spotkaniem. Ciekawe, czy tamta restauracja jest jeszcze otwarta. Skończymy przed moim kolejnym spotkaniem.
So, well, there you go. That's some Jiggle physics. So hopefully that helps you out. And yeah, if you got any more questions, just check out the Tekken Zaibatsu Discord. But I'm gonna go ahead and close the video on that note with a success.